So welcome to my best games of the year so far. And these are just my personal picks, games that I've been playing, games that I have finished, games that I've really enjoyed. What are some games that you have played this year that you think are the game of the year for you personally? Let me know down below because, as I say, this is a personal list. I'm going to read the comments. I'm going to see some other games that I may have missed because I only play the games that I really like and the games that I'm looking forward to. So there's a whole bunch of other games that sometimes just slip right past me, and I'd love to see them down below for sure. But let's start off at the beginning. These are in no particular order. These are just the games that have come out in 2021 that are show contenders for games of the year. And I want to say, to begin with, is Ys 9 is one of my games of the year. An action RPG by Famicom. I'm a big fan of the Ys series, and this game has not disappointed. It's actually blown me away that it's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I played the original Japanese version, and I was running around, and I thought, oh, it's pretty barren. You're just running around in this prison city. This is okay. This is okay. And then all of a sudden, I played more into the game. I finished the game. You go beyond the city, and then some. And the game is very flushed out. There's a lot of places to explore. I love all the different monstrum, all the different abilities. Adol is back. You control him, but you can also control all the other monstrum abilities. So you can use all of their abilities to traverse the world of the monstrum. And I gotta say, the game is fantastic. The music is really good. As I said in my review, I do like Lacrimosa of Donna better than this game. I just like the setting better. But this, for an action RPG on the PS4, on the PC, or on the Nintendo Switch, you can't go wrong. Now, this game may throw people for a loop and they say, what? This is one of your games of the year? It is. I've really enjoyed this game. I really played it a lot with my wife. We sat on a night just going through it, trying to figure out the mystery. And that is Famicom Detective Club. Yes, a visual novel. And for a lot of people, these games are very boring. I get it. It's not that exciting. But for me, it's the intrigue. It's the novelization. It's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure style of game where you're trying to solve a mystery. You wake up, you've lost your memory, and you're like, who am I? Where am I? Wait, I was trying to solve this mystery? How do I fit into this? And where is this mystery going? And there's some unexpected twists and turns. This game is originally from the Famicom days. They've completely remade it for the Nintendo Switch. My only gripe is there's no physical copy available over here. It's digital only, and that's the thing that still bums me out the most. I really wish there was a special edition like there is in Japan. That thing looks stunning, and I think this game deserves it. And I think that this game honestly also deserves more of an audience. So if you're into detective stories, mysteries, you'll really like this game. It is a kind of you do have to just go through a lot of menus and pick certain things, and some people will find that boring. Other people will just get drawn into the story like we did. Now, the next are two remasters, so they're not brand new, but they are brand new to a whole bunch of new audiences out there. And I'll start off with Shimagami Tensei III Nocturne, the high definition remaster. Me and my wife finished this game about a month and a bit ago now, and we really liked it. And yes, it has archaic elements. It's from 17 years ago. It's turn-based, but we love those style of games, so that's why we really enjoyed this game. Yes, the world map may seem a little bit barren, but that adds to the atmosphere of a post-apocalyptic world, and you're running around it as a demon, and you're recruiting demons. And that's where the fun of this game is recruiting demons, fusing them together, creating new demons. There's a lot of fun to be had here. And yes, it's an older style of game, but boy, if you were into Persona, I think you might kind of like this game. It's obviously doesn't have all the social elements the same way as it does Persona. Persona is a spin-off series of the main Shimagami Tensei series. It got more popular, but this is the meat and potatoes game for sure. And I do recommend it. And also, later in the year, Shimagami Tensei V, the game that we've all been waiting for. It was one of the very first games announced for the Nintendo Switch when it was announced in Japan. Yes, that's finally coming out in November. Really looking forward to that. But give Shimagami Tensei III Nocturne a try. I think it's a really interesting game. Try it on Nintendo Switch or PS4. Now, NieR Replicant has come over here, And you know, the thing is, it's been well received. I think a lot of people who didn't play it originally, and I got it originally, but I watched my friend play it. I watched him stream it. I watched him every night play that game, and I was like, wow, I love NieR. It's so cool. And then I got my own 360 copy. Things happened, and I never got back to it the same way I would have loved to, where this time I played all the way through this game, and I gotta say, it is so much fun. Again, a game from a little bit of time ago, but it still holds up now. They don't call it a remaster, they call it kind of a reimagining of the original, and this is kind of the Japanese-only version that is finally being brought over here. But the action RPG combat, I like the cities, I like the art design overall. I think this is a very strong game, and I think a lot more people need to discover it and give NieR Replicant a try. Now, the most highly anticipated game of the year has been Resident Evil 8. How is it stacked up? Incredibly well. I played it on PS5 and I was absolutely blown away. It lived up to my expectations and then some. I love the European setting. I love being thrown out there, kind of going, what's going on? Some big twists and turns that I will not spoil here for anybody. I talked about it with Rob for about an hour. We went into full in-depth detail about why we enjoyed the game. But the visuals are there, the story is there, the characters are there, the twists are there. The horror is there, but it's not as scary as past Resident Evil games. I wasn't really ever freaked out too much. I wasn't going, oh my god, this is really scary. But the experience was very, very cool. And yes, is that going to tie into Resident Evil 9? With the story from this one? Potentially, we'll say, and that's how I'll leave it. What do you guys think of Resident Evil 8? Has it lived up to your expectations? Me and Rob really liked it. I've talked to some other friends. They were like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not as good as this game. I think everybody has certain games in the series they love a little bit more. I enjoyed this game more than Resident Evil 7. 7 was a lot scarier, but 8 really had it for me. Now, the PS5 really has shined with this one particular game here, and that is Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I went in thinking, yeah, it's going to be another Ratchet and Clank game. It's going to be, visually a beautiful game. I didn't realize how great it was going to be. Now, I'm a casual Ratchet and Clank guy. In fact, I'd say, I kind of like the games. I'm not a humongous fanatic for them, but I'm like, yeah, I'll try it out. I can't believe the shock and awe that I had when I played the game. I was like, this feels like next generation gaming. It really does, because the cutscenes go into gameplay so perfectly that I couldn't tell the difference. I completely couldn't tell the difference. I was like, they've pulled it off in this game, and yes, there's a lot of cinemas, but yes, there's a lot of gameplay. And is it fun? Yes. It's like living in a Pixar movie. And I was saying before that I would really love like a Star Fox game by Nintendo in the future with this style of graphics. You replace the main character. I think that could be really something for Nintendo if they ever, when they decide to hit the 4K route. And I'm telling you, this game in 4K on my TV, I just sat there and was like, wow, look at what they pulled off. And yeah, the action platforming is really a lot of fun as well. Huge boss encounters, great city environments, and just the environments in general are so well done that I came away as this is up there as one of my games of the year for sure. Now, what is old is new. That is new again as well, because we had Final Fantasy VII, then we got Final Fantasy VII the remake, and now we have Final Fantasy VII Intergrade and Intermission. And so what that realistically is, it's the upgrade on PS5, and let me say, it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. This last week I played Intermission, and that's Yuffie's story, and I went all the way through that, and I had a big smile on my face. It's not a long mission. It's only about 4 hours long, but what I played in there, I really enjoyed, and all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to play through Final Fantasy VII Remake again because I got to get something out of it. Now, I was talking to some friends about it. Some people I know are like, I prefer Final Fantasy VII, the original game, over the remake. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I totally understand. I'm the same way. I love the original 7 is like a religious thing. It's a perfectly made product. It is awesome. It is awesome. You can't fault it. You can't wreck it. I love it the way it is. And nobody can disturb that because that's where that is. Where Final Fantasy VII Remake is just a different angle on all of that. It's a different way to perceive the story. It fleshes out a lot more visually and with dialogue and characters talking to each other. There's a lot more going on there. It pushes you through a little bit more. It's more like you're on a train going by the story because you're just going to the next beat, to the next beat, to the next beat. You never have a chance to kind of settle down for a bit, but it's so great and it's so modern and it's so great. I love the combat. I like the way it is. Yes, I love traditional turn-based combat, but I like that it's something different. It's something different and it doesn't take away from the past. So I like both for their own merits. And I think they're both very strong games. So yeah, that is something awesome. I mean, I never thought when I played the original Final Fantasy VII that one day there would be a remake of that. I mean, and I'd be playing on a PS5 when I was originally playing it on a PS1. You would have thought that would be something that'd be made up. Like, oh yeah, in the future we'll play on the PS5 one day and it'll be remade. Where yes, we are doing it in 4K and it shows the jump from the Final Fantasy VII Days of Yonder to now. It's like, whoa, look at what they're able to do. But the one thing it's doing to me more than anything else, it's making me long for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. When is that coming out? When is that coming out? They're announcing other games left, right, and center. And it's like, no, that's what we want. And I remember when they said, Intermission was coming out, I was like, does this mean Part 2? Because I didn't know all the details when they first announced it. And I'm like, oh no, that's just a side mission. I'm like, so we're getting side missions before we're getting Part 2? Okay. So I don't know how long away Part 2 is. I'm like the rest of you, waiting. I didn't even want to do Intermission. I was like, I don't want to do it because once it's over, there's going to be a long, long wait. And there's going to be a long wait. That's how it feels. I think we're at least 2-3 years away from getting Part 2 of the remake. But what is there is awesome. Now, I'm going to do an entire episode on the next game. It's up there as a contender for Game of the Year for me personally, and that is for Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. Yes, I just started to play it. I'm around 10 hours in, and I'm going to talk for a long period of time in an upcoming episode about all the details and what I really think about it. But so far, I'm really liking it. I'm loving the graphics. I'm loving the open world. I think it's there. It's kind of a contender right there. So I'll ask you guys, what are some games of the year so far for you? Let me know down below. We're only halfway through the year. There's a lot to come. Oh my god, Shimagami Tensei 5 is coming out. Advance Wars, Metroid Dread. The list continues. I mean, there's so much to be excited about. There's so much coming down the pipes video game wise that I'm truly excited. So anyways, guys, until next time.